first of all, welcome to the Chicago booth, Big Data and Analytic Roundtable. Tonight we're going to do just I have a few words I just want to say, and then a couple of things I do with the group. I look to understand what kinds of job recs are open out there. If people are looking, we can share the information across the group. I look for events that are occurring out there that we have, and why is that? There we go. I look for events that are occurring that might be of interest to this group. And then we'll do the presentation. Phil will come on and do his presentation about AI for good. And then we close it up. And if anybody wants to stick around and talk a little bit, I can stick around for a bit as well. But most times people just kind of take off. Most people are done with Zoom pretty quickly. So this group has been around since 2014. In fact, I was looking, our very first presentation was Data Science for Social Good. And it was the program that they had down at the Harris School, the fellow program that was run by them, about 50 fellows, and we had them come and present. That was our very first meeting. And why does this kind of keep going on me? Here we go. We have quite a few members over that period of time. There's been 47 roundtable presentations. Most of them have been recorded, not all. There have been some technical difficulties. Some of them are available online at the University of Chicago booth section. And I don't know, this is just ridiculous. It's playing and I don't want it to play. So I apologize. But they are available online. This is your roundtable. Get involved. We're looking for information about topics that we should have, speakers, format, how to lay this out. Get out and spread the word, and then volunteer if you can. Join one of the committees. And those committees, include the program committee, which helps identify and land us some speakers. There's a marketing committee, which gets the word out through LinkedIn and Facebook and all of those other media. Likely you saw one or more of those along the way. We have logistics, which tries to help set up the meetings. And a research and technology where we do some surveys and things. Those last two committees, we're trying to restaff up. Haven't been doing much with them, especially now that we're remote, but likely we'll get back into that sometime soon. So if you're interested in any of those committees, program and marketing, talk with Shante or Mike. Otherwise, talk to me about any and all of those, and we'll see if we can get you involved, okay? We do have an opening in October for a speaker, still trying to lock somebody in for that. We do have someone set up in November, and I will let Jackie give us just a little bit on what that's about Wavical and the speaker that we're going to have. Jackie?
Thanks, Roger. Yeah, we're excited to present in November. We're going to be talking about text analytics. A lot of organizations have a multitude of textual data and customer feedback, insurance claims, voice-to-text conversions of customer orders and emails. And that's kind of where we're going to go with this conversation. Understanding it at scale can be daunting, and we just want to kind of share what we're doing with some of our clients and how this may fit into other organizations and what you're doing there. Okay,
thank you, Jackie. And we're also looking for somebody in December, but we'll try to fill those in and keep the schedule moving along. This is a list of speakers we've had in the past. And again, those videos are available online at the UChicago site. And also we just set up a YouTube site and put Linda Birch and this is what she presented last month up there. And we're going to try to move as much as we can onto that YouTube channel so it's more easily available to people and easily available to everybody. Okay. So that's all I have to say. I'll go back to the agenda, and I'll start out with finding out, does anybody have an open rec? Is anybody looking for somebody in data science or predictive analytics or data engineering or anything close to that? Anybody have a need?
Roger, we're always looking for those roles. I'll send information to our career piece to our website, and anyone that is interested can feel free to apply to those roles.
Okay, perfect. I appreciate that. Anybody else have any openings? Yeah, Jackie, if you want to, you could actually put that up on the chat box. You could put a link to where people could go. Does that make sense?
Well, yes, I sure can.
Okay. All right. Anybody else out there? There aren't any other jobs? I'll take something from what one of my past colleagues would say in this situation, which is we're doomed. There's no data science jobs out there. We're just completely and totally all doomed. Might as well pack it up. So, all right. Well, I'm not gonna push it any more than that. The other thing I look for is, are there any other events happening out there that would be of interest to folks? And I'll bring up one while everybody's preparing. Informs, the Institute for Operations Research and Management Science, has an event coming up in a couple of weeks, and I'll put it in the chat box here. But it's their, basically Midwest, analytics conference, and that's I think it's a nominal fee. I'm a member, and I know it was $50 for 2 half days of sessions. So it might be a little bit more for a non-member of Informs. So that's something that's out there. Anybody know of any other events that are of interest? Okay, a very quiet audience tonight. We're up to 42 signed in, which is good. And like I said, we had 150 sign up on Meetup. I always like to see how many of the signups make it for the night, the session itself. So, all right. Well, without further ado, I guess I will move on to our featured speaker, and that's Phil Andreoli from Microsoft. And he's going to talk about AI for good at Microsoft. And I will let him talk a little bit more about his background. And I'm going to stop sharing. And I'll let him share and get started with the presentation. Phil.
Thanks, Roger. Can you hear me?
Yes, very
Cool.
well.
Thanks. How are you?
I'm doing well.
So
Thanks for coming to the group.
No problem. Thanks for having me. So I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully this works.
Don't you love it when technology comes together?
Yes. What do you see? The presentation view, or do you see anything?
I don't see anything yet.
Okay, I just shared. So are you seeing PowerPoint or nothing? It's not working.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything yet. Although I've got 3 monitors with stuff kind of up on these. Anybody else? Does anybody see anything?
No, it's not sharing. It's an issue.
It says you're sharing computer sound.
Okay, that's not what I want.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, it says Phil Andreoli is sharing computer sound.
Okay, do you see the screen now, or?
Yes.
So there's video, so I have to share the computer sound or you won't be able to hear the video. That's why I was trying to get that.
Okay.
So maybe it will work, it might not. So, okay, thanks for having me, everyone. I'm Phil Andreoli out of the Microsoft Technology Center out in Chicago, Illinois. A bit about the Microsoft Technology Centers, we about have 40 of them globally, about 15 in the United States, but they're more of an immersive experience where we have different experiences like healthcare, manufacturing and retail. And it's really to help customers of Microsoft to envision what is possible. We also have a variety of offerings that we help our customers with, like ideation, strategy, architecture design sessions, rapid prototypes, workshops, and hackathons. So typically at the Microsoft Technology Center, I focus on data and artificial intelligence solutions, along with connected devices, also called IoT. And then I do have other colleagues that focus on app dev, no code and low code platforms and CRM, collaboration, security, and then infrastructure. So that's a little bit about me and the MTC. So when we talk about AI for good, AI is a technology that can perceive, learn, reason, and help to extend the capabilities of people and organizations. And that's really what we're trying to help with. It represents a huge shift in technology. Everyone here should know what AI is, big data. I hope so. And how do we used to have machines learn and teach them how to learn, but now they can learn from us, and that's really what we're getting at. And Microsoft's belief in AI is, has the power to amplify human ingenuity and extend our capabilities so we can achieve more. That's really what we're trying to do. It goes along with our mission, where we want to empower every individual and every person to be able to achieve more. So that's what we're getting at. And sorry, I'm having some technical problems. And this is from Brad Smith, our Chief Legal Officer, and Sam, or Harry Shum. Ultimately, the question is not only what computers can do, it's what computers should do, right? Ethical AI, right? That's AI and ethics. We don't want, to be using AI to do harm to the overall civilization.
Yeah, I hope you don't mind if I just break in with questions.
No, of course.
All right, and then others too, then please, if you have a question, feel free to bring it up, and I'll try to keep my eye on the chat box, and if there's questions coming up there, I'll do that as well. But
Sure.
so given that focus, does Microsoft have a code of ethics, or especially a code of AI ethics that they live by?
We do. We do have a code of ethics. We have signed, I think it was in 2019 or early 2020, an ethics charter that we did, I think out in Rome, I think it was, with other organizations, but we do have a code of ethics. We also believe bringing diversity to solving AI problems as well.
Okay, that's interesting. Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome. So when we talk about AI for good, really what we're talking about is these 5 different areas. There's AI for Earth. There's AI for accessibility, which is how do I help people with autism or seeing disabilities and maybe, that have seizures? How do we help them hold a job? AI for humanitarian action. How could we potentially prevent a pandemic, not a pandemic, but I'm blinking, sorry. Different problems from happening before they do. AI for cultural heritage, and then AI for health. And we've taken about $165 million to invest in this space. So those are our 5 areas where we're doing AI for good. AI for health just happened last year, so.
So Phil, when you talk about that $165 million, is that money that you've divvied up into those different buckets, or are you looking for people to apply to do projects, or combination?
Yeah, so we divvied up, and I'll talk about how much we're doing in each one.
Okay.
So each one is that, and then you can apply for grants. So I'll have the where to apply at the end, actually, if people want to apply for a grant.
Okay. Very good.
Did I hear another question? So our first one I'm going to talk about is AI for Earth. So we've done a $50 million investment over 5 years to put artificial intelligence technologies in the hands of individuals and organizations around the world who are working to protect our planet. So when we talk about AI for Earth, we are talking about agriculture, feed the growing world's population. Our population is growing closer to 10 billion, and we need to be able to feed that population. So how do we do it and use the land that we have and potentially use land that isn't suitable for growing? How do we do that? Water, we survive on water. If we don't have water, we can't. And with the 10 billion population, agricultural needs, manufacturing needs, we're gonna use all the water that we can. Biodiversity, how do we monitor and protect species from extinction, right? So how, you know, we're in a mass, they're saying this is like a mass extinction, like lots of species are going extinct right now. And then we have climate change. How do we reduce climate change? And so our AI for Earth pillars are increase access, provide education, and then fuel innovations. That's really what we're trying to do. So and then these are some featured projects which I'll go into in more depth afterwards. So there's Wild Me, so fighting extinction with citizen science and AI. There's Sylvia Terra, mapping the future of our forests with machine learning. So there's that land cover mapping, advanced mapping for precision, and then iNaturalist, enabling everyone to play a role in protecting biodiversity. So I thought this one was good. So this is a video. Hopefully you can hear the sound. Let me know.
Hey, Phil, I don't think we're hearing the sound.
All right, I'll pass that one then. Sorry, I tried to get it to work.
That's all right. I tell you what, I've done this before. If you want to stop sharing, and then there's a checkbox for share sound on like the bottom lower left of the screen, share system sound, and then you can then pick the screen that you want to share.
So stop sharing, and then where was it? Sorry.
When you do the share screen, there's a thing that comes up, and on the bottom lower left, it says share computer sound, and then you still have to pick which screen you want to share.
Yep.
Hopefully that works.
So there we go. Does that work?
As the apex predator of the mountains of Central and South Asia, their presence or absence of snow leopards indicates it falls well in the ecosystem. So by using cameras to study the snow leopard population, we are actually working to protect an entire ecosystem. The problem is the only way to really know how many snow leopards are there is to be able to do more and more camera surveys. And analyzing all those images used to take up a considerable chunk of our time. Now, Microsoft AI is scanning through hundreds of thousands of images and looking for those features that make a snow leopard a snow leopard. And then separating those images which have snow leopards from those that do not in 10 minutes instead of 10 days. I don't think you can overemphasize the value of time by automatically analyzing these images and creating a database for us. Microsoft AI is providing our small team with the time to do more surveys and collect better data so we can better understand the health of this ecosystem. And that to me is a very exciting part.
So that's one way that we're helping with AI for Earth. Another is Farmbeats. So Farmbeats is a IoT, but it's giving farmers real-time data and actionable insights to increase production, maximize efficiency, and lower costs. And we're using low-cost sensors to help put in the ground to help, you know, understand where, like how much water is in the soil and how to maximize the efficiency to produce more really that's what we're getting to feed the population. Then there's Project Premonition, which is started as a way to detect and track emerging infectious diseases, but it actually came about, changed focus, and it was to help understand biodiversity. So how do I do this in a fast, reliable data on biodiversity in a given area? So these, if you could see where these little like containers, they'll capture insects to see mosquitoes and analyze the blood of mosquitoes taken from the animals in the environment to glean valuable data. So that's what we're doing here. I think this started back when 2016, when it was like Zika was the big thing. And so that's what this came out of. Our next AI areas for accessibility. So we actually have a $25 million commitment to helping everyone, including people with disabilities, focus on daily life, employment, and communication and connection. So when we talk about employment, daily life, and connection, how do we help use AI to help people develop additional skills in the workplace and evolve the culture around inclusive hiring? Communication and connection is focused on modernizing communication options for people, regardless of how they listen and speak or write. So these are some of our feature projects. I'm going to go into a couple others while we go in there. So the first one is example seeing AI. If you have an iPhone or an Android app, you can actually go download this from the App Store. So this was developed in 2015 as part of our Microsoft's internal hackathon that usually happens around July. A group of employees from across the company came together to work on this idea to leverage our AI capabilities and computer vision to help the blind and low vision community. So it's a free app. It also helps, identify, money. You can scan barcodes to help identify products. So it's really helpful, but you can go try this out. It's a really neat app. What's the name of the app, Phil? It's called Seeing AI. Seeing AI. That's it exactly. Okay. All right. And if you just Google that, you'll find it? It's in the app stores. So it's in iOS and Android. Okay. App stores, or Google Play and that iOS app store. Then we have another one's called Employment that helps autistic individuals. It was done at Vanderbilt University, and they're developing conversational tools that provide people with autism job interview trainings. So another one is Daily Life. So this is researchers at our University of Sydney. They're developing an intelligent real-time brain signal processing system for people living with epilepsy. So how can I prevent a seizure or notify a individual that they're going to have a seizure before it happens? We have our next one's AI for Humanitarian Action. So this is a $40 million commitment aimed at harnessing the power of AI to focus on disaster response, refugees and displaced people, human rights, and the needs of our children. So when we talk about disaster response, support resiliency, response, and recovery programs for those affected by humanitarian emergencies, needs of children, ensure that their safety and well-being of the children. How do we help those people that are refugees and displaced people, enable scalable collaboration in service of the approximate 65 million people? And then the last one is human rights. How do we monitor, detect, and prevent human rights abuses? So these are the groups that we're working with, just some of it. And then here's a couple of the projects. So refugees and displaced people. So using speech to text AI and so this asylum seeker advocacy project, we're helping to prioritize the needs of people seeking asylum. That's really what this is going to. So we've used Azure to do this. Are there questions? Another one is Operation Smile, where we'll use AI to accelerate the evaluation of surgeries. So Operation Smile works with people that have cleft palates, right? And how do we get them to be the surgery so that they can, live a normal life? So that's what Operation Smile does. And then in partnership with the World Bank, we can save lives by intervening before a famine occurs. So that's what we're trying to do here. So AI for cultural heritage is how do we, is a $10 million commitment that Microsoft is doing, leveraging the power of AI to empower people, organizations focused on preservation and enrichment of cultural heritage, which includes places, language, historical artifacts, and people. So we have people celebrating the people who have made significant impacts throughout history, places using digital tools to preserve important monuments and sites for future generations so that they're not, so we don't lose them to, climate change or erosion or whatever. Then we have languages, engaging with communities around the world for language preservation, and then historical artifacts, creating ways for collections. So when we get into, here's some feature projects. So we have Noble Foundation using AI to illuminate the discoveries and contributions of female Nobel Prize laureates. We then are working with Mount St. Michel, I think it's called. It's a relief map to create an immersive experience using AI. That was the first image that you saw with on this section. And then the Otomi and Maya translator. So how are we preserving these languages from Mexico that are rapidly going extinct because no one's using them? And then how do we use the Met Open Access? So then we also created the Met Open Access. And this is exploring ways in which AI can help the Met in New York City become more accessible to global audiences. So you don't have to go to New York, and you can't really go in there right now because of COVID, but you can still tour the museum.
Hey, I was just saying on that
yep.
Met access. I understand, having access to that, but how does the AI impact that? What's going on there? AI. So you're just exploring ways. Do you have? Are there things that you have already to help out with that? I think just having the Met online would be kind of cool, but any thoughts?
I think it's also leveraging the data that's there, but I'm not 100% sure what we're doing. Just give me a second.
Okay.
I mean, it's also, they don't display all the million pieces of work, right? So, and it goes back 5,000 years. So how do I take all that art that they've curated and bring it so that everyone can see it?
Right.
So does that make sense?
Yeah. And it seems it would be something similar than Mont Saint Michel. It would likely be something similar, and then it's just all of the pictures of everything that's there, and doing more than just having the pictures, but putting a story for that. Okay, all right.
So if you could see here, right? So it's more like an augmented reality type virtual reality experience, right? Here it is. How can I look at this data? How can I look at this architectural wonder and be able to interact with it? It's not really, I wouldn't call it AI, I would call it more augmented reality.
Okay.
Oh, last but not least is AI for health. It's over $40 million investment. So we'll support specific individuals and organizations through collaboration, partnership, and investment in AI technology. But it's to advance health of people and communities around the world. And our focus areas here are quest for discovery, global health insights, and health equity, improving access to care for our underserved populations. So Novartis Foundation, I'll just skip this and we'll just go here. Novartis Foundation focuses on leprosy. So leprosy is one of the oldest diseases known to mankind. I just learned that. Most people believe that it doesn't exist, but it does. 200,000 new cases diagnosed every year. The Novartis Foundation is training an AI algorithm to recognize images of leprosy lesions to enable people to take pictures of specific suspicious lesions. So if you could identify the lesion before it progresses and soon enough, as soon as you identify the region, you most likely won't lose a limb. So can you do it quicker just by taking a photo of that, and they can solve that. Another one is this vision one, which is a video.
So I'm here in India, and I'm going to see how Microsoft AI is helping prevent people from going blind.
80% of the people who went blind can be prevented, but we have about one doctor to 70,000 people. You can't bring all of them to the doctor, so we take the technology to them.
So how does Microsoft AI help you in your mission?
The first step is to capture a photograph of the eye, and the AI does an analysis of the photograph without a physical doctor at the site.
So AI can say, okay, this person doesn't have a problem, and this person does.
That's correct.
So that they can get treatment, and you can help prevent blindness.
Exactly, that's the whole point.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Now that's what technology is supposed to do. That can change the world.
So if you want to learn more about AI for Good, here's one of the links. So this is AI for Good. And then if you want to apply for a grant, I can send this to you. It's a link, but there's AI for Earth Accessibility. It's on the same website. You can apply for the grant. So, and then I can share this with Roger, and Roger can then share it out so as well. But I thank you.
Okay. I appreciate that, Phil. Thank you very much for the presentation. As people are thinking about questions they want to ask, and I will make sure I get my chat back up. I had Zoom crash on me, which it's never done before, but let's see what we've got. I have a question on the AI for health. Clearly, we've had some interesting things going on with health. Is Microsoft involved at all in the COVID research and applying AI to COVID?
So we've done, so some of the chatbots that you see like on the on the CDC, those were developed by Microsoft. We're working with Johns Hopkins, I believe, as another one for COVID, like providing compute. There's a couple other ones. I forgot the companies that we're working with on COVID as well. Okay.
So you are putting some effort behind that, which is good.
Correct.
Not just Bill Gates, so.
No, a lot of our stuff, like we spent some people in my organization created that chatbot that's being used, that healthcare companies can use as well to deploy to ask questions around, should I go to the doctor? I'm not feeling well. And then it goes and asks you a bunch of questions. So we've done that.
Okay. All right. So do other people have questions?
This is Robin. I don't see people on the screen, but can I ask something?
Sure.
Yeah, please.
So is this AI for Good from an organizational standpoint at Microsoft? Is it part of sort of like the corporate philanthropy department, or is it something that workers do on a pro bono basis? Like where does it fit organizationally at the company?
I don't know. It's not pro bono. I don't know where it fits within the organization. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I know like companies can apply for grants. I mean, I'm not sure. Sorry. I could find out for you, Robin. If you put me your email, I can send an email to you.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions?
Roger, I was just going to ask about the actual grant that he had just mentioned. What does that entail?
So you'll get some credits towards Azure, like for our machine learning AI capabilities. I believe you'll also get some architecture help as well from a design perspective.
Okay, thanks.
A lot of it's around free compute or some credits towards Azure.
Okay. Very good. Other questions?
Hi, this is Crystal. Does Microsoft have any incubators to kind of help people start up some ideas in addition to grants that might be related to some of the topics that you covered?
I don't know if we do have an incubator, but I don't think it's around what you're asking for. Like, are you looking for more like taking an idea to production, like from ideation to actual production?
Yes, exactly.
I believe so, because you can just fill out the proposal required. Like, you just have to fill out a proposal. So they might help you. I would have to find out. Sorry.
No problem. Thanks.
I'm involved with the Chicago City Data User Group, and that's Adam Heckman out of Microsoft. And I do know that there's a lot of civic related work that's being done at Microsoft as well, trying to work with government and nonprofit organizations to try to further the civic responsibility out there. I'm not aware of specific programs that Microsoft has. I just know that they're very interested and very helpful when it comes to those kinds of things. So yeah, if you have some interest, drop me a note, and and Phil can probably help as well. But I can see if I can reach out to Adam and see what he can do around this space as well. Okay.
I mean, I can also, if you have an idea, we could do an ideation session, at the MTC to help with that as well.
Yeah, and
Crystal,
the MTC is the Microsoft Tech Center, which is based on, I don't even know what the building's called anymore.
It's Aon building, Aon Center.
Yeah. Depending on when you came here and what name it is, it's over there on Randolph Street.
Yeah.
But Microsoft has their office there, and quite a nice complex. So.
Yeah. But we do it all remote now, so it's just over a Teams meeting.
Oh, that's true. There goes all the fun stuff that's there. The Surface and all that good stuff. Bummer.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we'll get back.
Yeah. Okay. Other questions?
Hi, this is Divya. So the Seeing AI app you mentioned, so is it something similar to Google Lens, or is it different?
I'm not familiar with Google Lens. But can you elaborate a little more on what Google Lens does, and then?
So it's like when you point on certain objects, it gives you what the details of the product, like if it's say glasses or a bottle, it shows bottle and it gives like similar images of a bottle. Short text.
Yeah, it's similar to that. Yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you.
But it will also help you recognize specific individuals too, so you can train it. So like if you're constantly interacting with like Roger, you can take like 5 pictures of Roger. So the next time that you come in and you look at Roger, it will, and with the camera, it will say that's Roger.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Thank
And
you.
then it does currency, colors, scene, it does handwriting. And I'm looking at it right now. Product identification, person identification. It will read you documents as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and it downloads really quick from the iTunes store or whatever that is. That's called now too. I don't know.
App
With
Store.
iOS 14, who knows? But it downloads quickly, and I was able to kick it up pretty quickly. But it wants me to watch a video or something, so that kind of slowed me down.
And then there's a good video about a musician on YouTube that uses it, and he'll be in his taxi cab in a taxi, and he'll just have it staring out into the outside the car, and it will just be telling him what is he driving by. It's actually pretty cool.
Mhm.
But that was from an internal hackathon. That was like 5-6 people working on it over a course of like 5 days. And it turned into a product.
Does Microsoft do hack nights here in Chicago?
No, we don't. We do, within my org, we do hackathons that are typically like 5 days. But hack nights, I haven't seen it since I've joined. So.
Okay. And then, yeah, I know that in Chicago we have the Chicago Hack Night.
Okay.
Which is, again, more civic focused.
Yeah.
They tackle civic things. I don't know how they're doing since COVID. I know they used to meet like once a week or so. And that was one of the founders of that was the ex-CDO City of Chicago. But that was a place to go explore and try to do things with AI related to civic responsibility as well. So, okay. Does anybody know if that's still going and how it's doing? Shy Hack Night? Okay. Any other questions? Okay. That's good. All right, Phil, again, thank you so much for your time and for telling us about AI at Microsoft, and that there's $165 million out there that's going towards helping people in lots of different directions. So that's much appreciated, Microsoft doing that. And yeah, hopefully if people have a chance here, they can apply for a grant and start working on some of that stuff themselves, okay? So with that, I'll say, again, thanks, Phil. Appreciate it. And everybody, keep an eye out for what's happening. I will get our next meeting up on our meetup site, and I'll get information out to you either through the meetup or through the mailing list and through the normal kind of LinkedIn and Facebook and all of those other kinds of pages as well. Okay, so have a great month, and we'll catch up with you next month sometime. If you want to stick around and talk, let me, I'll hang out for a little bit, and if anybody's there, I'll plan on talking, but I'll stop the recording here in just a sec. Take care.